Hello and welcome to today's video. If you were trying to take your Notion account and create it into a website, well, I have the perfect solution for you. Not perfect exactly. I'm going to walk through the pros and cons of Super and Notion, how to get those set up. I have a walkthrough of the exact details. This video is not the exact walkthroughs. It's a pros and cons, show you an overview of what's possible. And as a web developer or someone who's built hundreds of websites, I'm going to give you my take on what works, what doesn't work, and all of that. With that, I also have an SEO course that I made for Super and Notion. So if you're considering doing this switch, you definitely want to keep in mind SEO. So please check the link down in the description. With that said, let's get into it. So as you can see here on my screen, this is super.so. If you check it out, it's very clear, from Notion to website in minutes. Big promise, a lot of things to deliver. Now let's take a look. First, you're going to see custom domains. You could add your own domain through Super. Now, there's a few tools that do this, but Super is really throwing in all the features that make them one of the best in the market right now. So you could add in your custom domain. You could integrate it with a lot of different things. You could see Google Analytics here. It's really easy to add code to the header of your site, which is basically the way to integrate almost anything. But then there's a lot of other options as well. Speed, this is a big pro. I'm going to talk about pros and cons in a minute. This is a huge pro. It's really quick. It works very fast, simple to use, and simple to navigate, which is nice. One other thing they do that's really nice is they have a bunch of fonts included that you could change your site so it has different fonts. It's not a full experience where you could say, I want the title font to be this font and the body font to be this font. They'll probably get there one day, and you could do it with custom code yourself, but you can go in, choose a font that you like for your site, and change it out fairly quickly. Now, the cost, $12 per site per month. It's kind of funny that they even show it that way, but anyway, that's how they show it. It's how all of the companies show it that do this, but $12 per site per month. Now, before we get into the pros and cons, let's take a look at some of the sites that have been built. So this is Notion. It doesn't look like Notion. It doesn't feel like Notion, but this is built in Notion and it is using Super to launch it. So this is probably a database where the title and this graphic design text shows up here. Show some projects. They look spaced out. Interesting setup. Cool. Looks really nice. The bottom, a little footer. That's awesome. Cool. So, let's go back. You can see the speed. It's great. Loads really quick. It even has this subdomain thing going on, which is like a more advanced feature, but that's nice. Really happy about that. I keep going back the wrong way. So a lot of different features. Let's click on this. Cool. Looks nice. All right. Nice feel. User guide. Cool. Looks cool. Yeah, the site's cool. Okay. So let's go to the next one. This feels much more like Notion. You can see they integrated this like button look and feel for like start exploring. Exposed. The useful information is hidden and scattered. We expose them. Cool. All right. This is a nice feel. Like I like the it feels like it's growing out of the page, which is nice. It's very much like a Super feel. If you go back to Super, you can see that here on their button. That's the feel they have. Anyway, let's go back. Notion API tool list. Cool. That's nice. Yeah, it's cool. You definitely feel the Notion side of it. Now, some of them you're going to feel Notion a lot more than others. Ooh, this is interesting. This definitely doesn't feel like Notion. This feels much more like a website. Okay, so to me, in my opinion, this is overkill. And the reason this is overkill is there's a certain point where if you want to customize it this far, just go build it on a different tool. You're almost forcing things that shouldn't work together to work together. And I think at a certain point, that's a little bit like a lot. Like this is definitely custom coded. And there's other tools that could make this just a lot simpler where you don't maybe have to do so much work. I don't know the level of detail of work that was needed to create this. This looks like there's still a bit of work in progress as well. I think the homepage is beautiful, but yeah, this is really nice. But there is a point in here where I'm kind of saying, hey, is it necessary? Is it necessary to do all this? But you could see what is possible. Okay, let's take a look at this. Mindvault.co. Mindvault, really nice. Looks clean. I don't know what's going on with the corners. There's like a bit of a white edge in the corner, but okay, that's fine. Okay, cool. So let's click on one of these. Emergence. Let's see. Finding truth. Systems thinking. Okay, this is cool. It feels like Notion. Definitely this feels like Notion. You get the look and feel. Could listen. Opens in a new link. Yeah, okay, cool. That's an overview of that. This feels much more like a portfolio website. Again, it's kind of pushing away from Notion at a high level. And one of the reasons I even noticed this is even this doesn't have any padding, which you would want padding here. I don't know why it doesn't have padding, but the amount of work it probably took to like custom code this to like look and feel right. And even right now, this, I can't read it there. So I wouldn't suggest that if you're, especially if you just want to start out. Anyway, I think most people are going to want to do something like this. Simple, you feel it, it's Notion, but it's like, that's a block, that's a block. These are 2 blocks, text, and then a call out. Awesome. 3 text blocks. Projects, this is a database. Simple, you click on one. Inside, you have these different images with text below it. This is where I think it's really powerful because it's easy to create these things. And one of the biggest differences, if you want to integrate a lot of different tools and looks and feels, you're going to have to design it if you design your own website. So if you design it on Webflow, or you design it on Squarespace, or you design it on any other platform, and mainly I've worked on Webflow and Squarespace, mainly Squarespace, it's going to take a lot of work to get everything to feel the way you want to, but Notion comes out of the box feeling really nice. If you ever used Medium before, all the fonts and text and everything just already is set up properly, so you don't have to think about the style, you just got to put the content in there. And that's where Notion and this tool Super work really well. There are a few more that you can take a look at. This is a clear one too to use it for a help section of a site. Really easy to integrate the entire help section and just have it in Notion, and you just update it in Notion and it updates automatically. Now let's take a look at the site that I just built out, and this is what you'll see me work on in the course. This is my site, David's blog. Simple, clean, articles go here. This is a database. I also have like a section, like this is only showing a filter of things that have been published. So I have unpublished articles in this database that are not showing up. I have an about, goals, favorites, enjoyment, sign up for my newsletter, all of that. This is a sample section right here, intro sample. Only thing I did to fonts was change it to Public Sans. And then from there, only thing I changed were the colors. So this is like a grayish text, and when I changed the text to gray, it changed the titles to gray, but I wanted to keep those darker, closer to black. So I adjusted that as well. Now, let's take a look inside Super. This is what it looks like. As of right now, you can see I'm in the beta form. So you get in here and there's your sites. You have different sites listed. Once you go in here, it gives you different options, details. So you could overview the name and the page. And then below that, you have domains where you can link the domain. Pretty simple process as well. I have a video walkthrough of that if you have questions. Here are all the pages. This needs a lot of work. I'm going to talk about this in a moment with the pros and cons, but pages, once that works, is going to be amazing. Options right here, you could add code to the header of your site. You could adjust the favicon. You can say if you want this to be indexed by Google or not. Page properties, that's with the database if you want to show that, and then site search. So there are a lot of options in here. And finally, themes. There are 4 themes that come within the standard template. So you could choose dark mode, you could choose blackout or neutral. I have custom code overriding it, so you're not seeing any changes right now, but you can adjust that and play with that as you like. And then the fonts you want to choose. So custom font, I have it set to Public Sans, and you could see here is a list of fonts, most of them being Google fonts that you can use and integrate on your site. Again, there's no title and body fonts. It's just one font for your whole site, which over time I bet they'll adjust. Okay, so pros and cons for Super and Notion. First of all, Notion is really well designed, so you're not thinking about colors, you're not thinking about font size, you're not thinking about it formatting. It's responsive, completely responsive to mobile, desktop, all of that. So out of the box, you're getting something that's almost a website. It just doesn't have a few key features of a website, and that's where Super comes in. So let's talk about the pros. Number 1, easy setup. To get your site up and running, for me, I could get a site up in 10, 20 minutes. Most people, same exact thing. It could take 10 to 20 minutes to get the site up and running. If you want to do a bunch of customizations, you could end up spending hours and hours and hours on it. But if you're happy with Notion, you could get a site up and running fairly quickly. And it could just be part of your account. Personally, I create a separate account for my website. I create a separate account for what I call my second brain, my own Google, and then I have my own personal, and then I have one for work. So I have 4 accounts right now that I'm running through, but they're free. At least 2 of them are free because I don't really use them beyond some basic capabilities that Notion offers for free. The other thing worth keeping in mind is our synced blocks. I don't know if you know much about sync blocks or if you've seen it, but sync blocks allows you to take a bit of content with as many different blocks as you want. It could be 2 or 3, it could be 100, whatever. You could take those blocks and sync it across your site. So then if you put it on 100 pages and you change it on one page, well, it'll change it on all pages. It's a really cool feature that I'm going to show right now. So you could see here when I go into the blog you're going to see that there's all these different, here's the actual article, but at the very bottom, I have this sync blocks. It highlights in red around it. And so if I make a change here and I change this to well, it edits it in all 4 instances across the entire, all my Notion pages. So if you add a profile to the bottom of every single Notion page, well, now it's going to adjust it and update it across all of them if you make an adjustment to one, which is a really cool feature. The next big one, which is I'm really happy about, is pretty URLs and automatically generating pretty URLs. So with Super's newest beta, it works. It doesn't really fully work. There are some issues I was running into with it. So if we go back to my site and I go to pages, you'll see here, there's a few issues I run into. I asked it to sync URLs automatically, but what you'll see is there's articles that repeat. I don't know why they do. Read and retain 50 books a year. If you scroll down here, you'll see read and retain 50 books a year. I did copy and paste stuff and move things around, but overall, I realized that, hey, this might be part of, I don't know what the exact issue is here of why it's doing that or how to fix it properly. Second, when I try to change the URL, so if I go to edit URL and I change this to new URL, it doesn't save. So basically, I think this will get fixed soon, but once this gets fully worked out, it'll be amazing. This is kind of a pro and a con at the same time, but as of right now, I just want to highlight that the user experience here is pretty incredible. You could add custom code to an individual page, which is really nice. You could also adjust the page, the title and description. This also should be called it should be called page title, not site title, but you could change the information here. Site image could change, and you could also add in keywords. And then finally, I mentioned it in the beginning of the video, speed and experience is great. Honestly, the user experience is so good for somebody on the other end of your website that it makes it so user-friendly. The fact that it creates like breadcrumbs and the page is organized really well, as soon as I click on it, it loads, it looks great. I could easily click back into the last page. The organization is great. The fact that it could show tags and stuff, that's really beautiful as well. And give people a full user experience. I really, really love it. Now, let's talk about cons. One of the biggest cons I'm just going to call out is I know they're scaling and building the company, but personally, I think $12 a month is a high ticket price. I think there should be some type of tier where you could start at $4 a month and go up to $16 a month, somewhere in that range. Obviously, there could be other things they add that would change that or adjust it, but $12 a month is basically how much you pay for Squarespace, and you're going to get an actual website with proper URLs and no mistakes there and full SEO capabilities. Yes, Squarespace has been around for a really long time, but if you're looking to launch a basic site quickly and say you're a small business owner or say you just need a help section, Notion's user interface is much better, but paying $12 a month for Super, it makes sense for a business, but in some cases for people who are maybe just starting out and getting onto the web, $12 is a high price ticket item to be paying each month. For students, it's more than Spotify. So that's one thing I would just say, it's okay, but it's not great. The other thing is the beta still does have issues. The fact that the page URLs don't work perfectly, sometimes you click save and it doesn't save, and then it doesn't tell you why it doesn't save. Those types of issues get in the way of just making this user experience full. And when you're talking about SEO and long-term growth, you're going to want these systems really dialed in so that people could depend on them. And as of right now, it's not fully there. Finally, if there is something specific that is more like a website that isn't built into Notion, if you try to custom code it and you're not a coder, it may take a lot of work. You're really trying to manipulate something that wasn't built to be a full website into a website. And also that part of the process can just get complicated if you're new to this or you're trying to figure out what the best way to launch a site to get your site up and running and make sure it's optimized, how that works. So here are my thoughts. Basically, as of right now, it still needs work, but I really believe the team at Super are going to do their absolute best to get this to work because they see a profitable business here. And also they're just deploying there are a lot of things that they could be solving for that they have to stay really focused on. So I really believe that over time, a year from now, 3 years from now, this is going to be amazing. And each month it's only going to get better. So I'm not overly critical about these little details. They are important, but I do know that they're making advancements and updates to go in the right direction. Now, the fact that they show the synced URLs, the pretty URLs, and they show you all of them on one page is a great benefit. And number two, the fact that Notion is releasing sync blocks, I think is going to make this whole system 1,000 times better just in the next few months here. Right now it's June, almost July 2021. I really think by September or October, this tool is going to be incredible. Now, with that said, thank you for watching today's video. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you're looking for more content like this. We publish new videos, multiple videos each and every single week. So I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.